Let's jump right into this. You know, getting a new medical diagnosis after a colonoscopy or a routine checkup, well, it can be incredibly terrifying, especially when your doctor casually drops a medical term you've literally never heard before and doesn't give you much to go on. So you go home, you consult the internet, and suddenly you're in a full-blown panic. If you've recently been told you have colonic diverticula, I want you to take a deep breath. Today, in this explainer, we are going to break down the absolute latest medical guidelines from March 2026 to bring you immediate peace of mind. We're taking you from panic to complete empowerment. So you're looking at your chart, and there it is. You have colonic diverticula. Now what? Look, I completely want to validate that immediate wave of panic you might be feeling. Let's just address the massive elephant in the room right off the bat. The very first thing almost everyone fears when they hear they have a growth or a pouch inside their colon is that it's going to inevitably turn into cancer. That fear is so common, and it's exactly what we're going to tackle first. Here's our calming roadmap for today. Number 1, not cancer, just dimples. Number 2, the real danger, diverticulitis. Number 3, lifestyle risks to avoid. Number 4, diet myths and truths. And finally, number 5, 5 habits to have your risk. You'll know exactly what to do by the end of this.
Part 1. Not cancer, just dimples.
Let me just say this as clearly and emphatically as possible so you can let out a huge sigh of relief. Colonic diverticula will absolutely never, ever turn into cancer. They're not polyps, they aren't tumors, and they are definitely not precancerous tissues just waiting to mutate. To really understand what they are, imagine the muscular wall of your colon is like a layered pastry, like a milfoil. Well, in some places, that muscle layer naturally gets a little bit weak. So when pressure builds up inside your colon, the inner lining basically pushes through those weak spots, creating a tiny pouch on the outside. Honestly, think of them as harmless, small dimples in your gut. Just like the dimples on someone's cheeks are caused by tiny gaps in the facial muscle, these are just cute little dimples in your colon. They're completely benign. Now, you should know that once they form, they don't ever disappear. They're not going to pop back in and heal flat. But just having them, it's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. Moving to section 2, the real danger, diverticulitis. Okay, so the crucial point here is that while the dimples themselves are completely harmless, they just sit there quietly doing nothing, the real issue, and the reason we're talking today, is what happens if those little pouches get inflamed. When a diverticulum becomes inflamed, the condition upgrades to a very similar sounding but much more serious word, diverticulitis. Let's look at the exact cascade of events that leads to this. Step 1, feces gets stuck inside that little dimple, and because it's a closed pouch, it can't easily empty out. Step 2, the bacteria trapped in there start to multiply rapidly. Step 3, this causes severe inflammation, which leads to really intense abdominal pain and often a high fever. But step 4, this is where the grave risks lie. If that inflammation gets too severe, because the wall of the dimple is so thin, it can actually rupture or perforate. A hole in your colon means bacteria spill into your abdominal cavity, causing peritonitis. That is a life-threatening emergency that can require immediate surgery, cause severe bleeding, or even mean you need a temporary artificial anus. So yeah, it's serious business. But hey, before your anxiety goes through the roof again, let's look at the actual risk. 1 to 4%. I want to instantly relieve your worry here. Based on the absolute latest research, which followed patients over roughly a 7-year period, only 1 to 4% of people who have colonic diverticula will ever actually develop diverticulitis. Think about that. It means the vast, overwhelming majority of people are going to live their entire lives with these little colon dimples and never experience a single symptom. Section 3, lifestyle risks to avoid. Getting diverticulitis isn't just a matter of bad luck or rolling the dice. Our daily lifestyle choices play a massive, scientifically documented role in whether these dimples stay peaceful or get angrily inflamed. Let's briskly walk through 5 daily habits that skyrocket your risk. First up is smoking. And actually, smoking is a double threat. Japanese data proves it not only causes the pouches to form in the first place, but it also directly triggers the inflammation. Number 2 is alcohol consumption. Number 3 is a lack of exercise. Even just sitting too much increases your risk. Number 4 is obesity, which in Japan is classified as a BMI of 25 or higher. And number 5, pay really close attention to this one, is weight gain. Even if your weight is currently sitting comfortably in the normal range, just the act of gaining weight rapidly over a short period is a major risk factor for triggering an attack. It is all connected. All right, section 4, diet myths and truths. Okay, this is where we introduce the biggest plot twist of this whole explainer.
If you've been furiously Googling what you can and cannot eat with this condition, you're probably incredibly confused. And honestly, you're probably pretty hungry. Because that old internet advice, it is flat out wrong. Medical guidance has completely flipped on this issue. The old advice, which frankly a lot of doctors used to give, was to strictly avoid nuts, seeds, strawberries, kiwi, and popcorn. And sure, the logic seemed sound at the time. Small, hard pieces could physically get lodged in those dimples and cause infection. But the new 2026 guidelines absolutely shatter this dietary myth. There is zero link between eating nuts or popcorn and developing diverticulitis. Actually, you are now totally liberated to enjoy them. They are fantastic sources of dietary fiber, which actually protects your colon.
And what about all the other fun stuff, spicy foods, heavy curries, carbonated drinks? Well, the guidelines don't restrict them at all. You really do not need to be overly nervous about these foods. The golden rule here is entirely personalized. They are perfectly fine unless they cause you personal discomfort, like gas, bloating, or diarrhea. Just listen to what your own gut tolerates. As for things like lactic acid bacteria or probiotics, sure, they might help soothe an upset stomach if you have one, but there's no solid proof yet that they prevent diverticulitis from coming back. So bottom line, eat normally and don't let yourself become neurotic about your food.
Section 5. 5 Habits to Have Your Rest. Let's turn all this information into pure empowerment. An incredibly large-scale American study looked at how we can actively protect our gut, and they found that, by adopting a specific set of habits, you can literally cut your risk of developing diverticulitis by 50%. So here is your science-backed blueprint for long-term gut health. 1. Limit red meat like beef and pork to a maximum of 4 times a week. 2. Eat at least 23 grams of dietary fiber every single day to keep things moving. 3. Get your body moving with at least 2 hours of active exercise per week. 4. Maintain a healthy BMI between 18.5 and 24.9. And 5. Never smoke. If you can just integrate these 5 highly actionable habits into your daily life, you are building a seriously resilient digestive system and slashing your risk right in half. I've got one extra bonus tip for you today, straight out of a fascinating 30-month Japanese study of 70 patients. They found that drinking pure burdock root tea, also known as gobo cha, 3 times a day significantly helped prevent the recurrence of diverticulitis. It is absolutely packed with water-soluble fiber that feeds the good bacteria in your gut. But I have a massive word of warning for you here. Strictly avoid those diet teas or detox teas that promise miracle weight loss. A lot of those contain something called candlebush, which is a natural but incredibly harsh laxative, kind of like senna. Drinking that stuff regularly will literally physically weaken your colon wall over time and make you totally dependent on it just to go to the bathroom. Stick to pure, simple burdock root tea. So as we wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you going to let a harmless little dimple control your life, or will you take charge of your gut health starting today? You now know that these pouches aren't cancer, that the actual risks of complications are incredibly low, and that you've got a clear, simple roadmap of diet and lifestyle changes to keep your colon completely healthy. It's time to stop worrying, start implementing these habits, and go live a long, happy life with your perfectly fine, lightly dimpled colon. Thank you so much for joining me, and here is to your excellent health.